Holly, and I'm from the Te Puke Fellowship in the Bay of Plenty. My testimony, I first heard the full gospel when I was 15, so about 23 years ago now. And up until that point, sort of had a bit of exposure to different Christian churches. I was going to a Catholic school. I'd been christened Presbyterian, and yeah, so I think I probably thought of myself as someone who knew a bit about Christianity, and I was pretty convinced that there probably wasn't a way of getting any of that right. There's so many different ideas, and I just kind of saw it as a bit of a waste of time. And I remember as a teenager making a conscious decision that I was not going to be a Christian, and that I was just going to live my life, try and be happy and successful, and then die and nothing. And I was like perfectly happy with that. But when I was 15, me and my sister, we were travelling over to England to visit Dad, and we knew he was involved in revival centres at the time, and we'd always known that, and so we were going to be going to a Easter camp just like this, but in Wales, like when we were over there, and we were both really not looking forward to hanging out with a bunch of Christians for a weekend. But we were just something that we were going to have to put up with. But as soon as I met the people in the church, I just was really attracted to the people. Like, they just seemed really different, and the way that they spoke to one another, the way that they just conducted themselves, and especially the way that they talked about God was like really different to anything that I'd seen. Comparing it to like Christians that I knew who kind of talked about Jesus as this kind of, vague idea, and that I just couldn't really understand. But when I heard these people talking, they talked about God and Jesus as if they were like really real people in their lives, and I could see that they really understood the scriptures, and it was just part of their daily conversation. I heard amazing testimonies while I was there. To the point where, because I think I was a fairly cynical person, to the point where I was like, why are they saying these things? Like, what is the advantage of them lying about this kind of stuff? And it just really confused me. I saw a woman, she had suffered a heart attack at the camp, and everyone just, someone came in and said, everyone start praying now, and everyone just started praying in tongues, and which was kind of freaky at the time. But then afterwards, everyone was so calm, and she was just like having a cup of tea, I think, and everyone was like, yeah, this is normal. And so that was really like mind-blowing. The biggest thing was that I didn't believe in the Bible, and I didn't believe in God, and yet people talked to me about the scriptures, and I just believed them. Like, I just was completely convicted, and I was completely like afraid, like after people spoke to me and showed me things in the Bible. And so I went from not believing in God at all to like getting on the plane to go home like 3 weeks later. Me and my sister, we were both terrified that the plane was going to go down, and we hadn't been baptized, and we hadn't received the Holy Spirit, and we knew that that's what we needed to do. So and I think that was just a miracle, because that was just something that changed inside of me. So we got back to Wellington and told Mum that we wanted to go to meetings, and she was actually baptised and Spirit-filled from a long time before, so she was like, yes, I think that's a good idea. So we all started going along to meetings together, and it was just us and one other family in Wellington. So at that point I realised that I was a teenager and I had to go back to high school, and I didn't want to be a Christian, and so I was really conflicted for a long time. Like, I don't want to be a Christian, but I also have to get baptised and I have to receive the Holy Spirit, or I'm not going to make it. So I went back and forwards for a long time. But after about a year of going to meetings and praying to receive the Holy Spirit and knowing that I would receive the Holy Spirit when I spoke in tongues, I eventually got baptized, and just in a bathtub at someone's house. And a week or so later, I was praying with someone at the meeting, and I started to speak in tongues. Like, it was just the most natural thing in the world. And then I was just so relieved, because I knew then that everything that I'd heard in those meetings now applied to me, because I was now in the family of God. So that was just where my walk started. And it's just been so amazing to just be able to put everything to the Lord, like little things, big things. I'm probably someone that worries way too much about the small things and not enough about the big things. But the Lord's just always taking care of like all the things in our lives, or especially jobs and like kids. Bringing up kids in the Lord is awesome, because there's loads of times as parents that you don't know what you're meant to be doing, but you can just pray about it and know that the Lord, is going to sort it out. Probably the best thing is just knowing like what it's all about, like knowing who you are and where you're going and why you do the things that you do and why you make the decisions that you make in life, and that there is a reason and an end to everything. So, and just recently, something exciting that happened last year in our assembly was we had there's a few people in the community that we know quite well. Like Mike and I helped do this festival with a couple of community women, and one of them has a daughter, also called Holly, and she was involved in a really serious car accident. So we were in the meeting on a Sunday, and we got a text through saying, please all pray for Holly, because she's had this really bad car accident, she's in a coma. So we did that, and I ended up in this big group chat with just all these kind of people that knew them through different things. And so I'd get updates on what was happening, and the first 24 hours they were like, oh, we can't operate, but her brain is swelling, and if the swelling doesn't go down, she'll be brain damaged. And all these people were like, oh, we're just praying for her, like all different churches, and the Sikh temple were praying, and people were writing up prayers on this little group chat, and everyone was really excited, and she's going to be all right, she's going to pull through. And then over the next 24 hours, they came back and said, oh, actually there's no brain activity, so we're going to switch her off and start go through the process of organ donation. And we were still praying for her, and still letting them know, no, we're going to keep praying. And they said, so they switched her off, and then they said, oh, actually we can't switch her off, because you have to have blood all the blood has to stop running through the organs before you can donate them. And she still had blood circulating, so they said, oh, we're going to put her back on for 3 days, and after the 3 days, that's it, we're going to either donate her organs or not. But there's no change to her. She's still got zero brain activity, and everyone on this group chat stopped praying and started organising, oh, let's do a collection, and let's get some cards together, and let's look after the family, and let's get some mattresses and urns, and blah blah blah. And I was just still messaging Dale, who's the mum, and just saying, oh, we're still praying, she's still there. And so they went and turned her off after 3 days. Just before they turned her off, they did something, and she had brain activity. She had response to pain and response to voice. So they kept her on, and then she started breathing on her own, and then she opened her eyes, and so the whole thing happened at the beginning of November, and then by the end of Christmas she was walking. And so I saw her the other day. She came into my classroom, and she just looks completely recovered. She's just got a bit of memory loss at the moment, but it was super exciting for everyone to be a part of it, and they really acknowledged it, and so it was really cool.